Brian, let's let us know when we can go live. Thank you very much. Well, welcome to the September 11th board meeting, PUSD number 8. And we're glad to have you here.
Bob, it's May, not September.
May, did I say September?
Yeah.
I don't know why I had September 11th on my mind. Thank you. I went into a time warp. May 11th, 2021. And it's good to have you folks here. We're going to start off with a public meeting. We got a long evening planned, so let's work hard at staying with the agendas that we have in front of us. And so we'll open this up, as I mentioned, at 5:04 p.m. Public hearing to begin with. And it being a public hearing, we'll just go with the item number A, presentation of budget revision to the annual expenditure budget for 2020-2021. And Ms. Vindy Warren-Handy.
Bob, I think you missed a roll call.
Did I miss that?
Yes,
I
you did.
You know what? I'm going to go out the door and come back. Let's have a roll call, please.
Desiree Fowler, board clerk.
Thank you.
Dee McCary, member.
Sandra Kidman.
Thank you.
Chuck.
Let's
Chuck Weiss, board member.
Thank you. Bob Candelaria, board president, and Superintendent Wallen, please introduce yourself, sir. You're going to have to unmute, I think, right?
Unmute. Yes,
Okay.
correct. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to be here. Thank you.
All right, very good. And we're joined by Lynn Hoffman, executive secretary to the board and the superintendent. And now we'll proceed with the public hearing portion, a presentation of budget revision number 3, the annual expenditure budget for 2020-2021. And Vindy Warren-Handy, you've got it.
Thank you, sir. Governing Board President, Mr. Candelaria, members of the board, Superintendent Wallen. Let me share my screen with you all today. So this is the third budget revision for the fiscal year 21. From our last revision, revision number 2, to today, our budget limit had decreased by $119,000. This is because of the recent estimate of the distance learning adjustment that we received. So that's what I'm showing you there. So our general budget limit today has reduced overall by about $988,000 in comparison to our revision 1. Overall, again, our general budget limit reduced due to 2 reasons, as I have presented here. This is because one of the reasons was our ADM loss of $1.3 million, and the other is our distance learning decrease over a total of about $755,000. As you know, enrollment stabilization grant and the budget balance carry forward helped us balance the budget today. However, our total net reduction of the general budget is about $988,000. And I wanted to show you when we compare our budget limit from fiscal year 20 to fiscal year 21, you can see that in total, our general budget reduction is about $1.3 million. Here we have our M&O budget distribution among our expense categories. So in our M&O distribution, as you know, 74% of our budget is committed to salaries and benefits. And our Impact Aid budget has not changed from revision 2 to revision 3. It still remains at the $11 million. And as you know, our impacted distribution consists of 50% of the impacted budget is dedicated to salaries and benefits. And our district additional assistance, or our capital budget, I wanted to show you the overall increase we've had for the year, because there was no change to our budget limit here from revision 2 to 3, but overall during the year we had an increase of about $727. And our classroom site fund remained the same from revision 2 to 3, with the available budget balance of $2.8 million for fiscal year 21. And as you know, our special projects totals up to about $2.5 million. And our COVID-related funds, as you can see, totals up to about $8.5 million, which we report that in our page 6 of our budget worksheet for this revision. And if you have questions for me today, I'll be happy to answer.
Board members, any questions, please?
I have a few questions.
Yes, go.
Thank you. So can you explain to me, typically our M&O budget distribution for benefits and salaries is right around 80%. Sometimes it hovers above 80%. Now we're all the way down to 74%.
Yes.
Can you tell me, is that why, basically?
It's because of the this year was different to the other years because of the reduction, and we were able to journal entry some most of our salaries and benefits into ESG, enrollment stabilization grants. So that helped us reduce the budget there with the reduction, and that's how.
So you shifted what pot you used, basically. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay.
Just following up on that, are you done, Mrs. Skidman? I'm sorry.
For now, yes, thank you.
Okay. Could you just clarify for us, because it is 74%, and Ms. Skidman, very right, we're normally used to seeing the 80%. What is that? How does that bode for us in the next for the future in terms of the next couple school years?
Good question. So we're still in the planning phase of that. We're hoping for a budget balance carry forward for when we are planning for fiscal year 22 to help us balance the bad budget for to compensate for that budget reduction we've had. So and also we do have our COVID related funds that would possibly help us, and also we have the hope of bringing in more students, so our budget limit will not be impacted for the next few years. Hopefully, that is the plan.
Okay, so the bottom line with this bubble we've talked about quite a bit, we feel fairly decent through 2024. And then the hopes really lie on the fact that we hopefully we can get more students in and those kind of things. And so did I hear that properly?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So that means tightening our belts and keeping that kind of mentality in the forefront.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn from public hearing. Motion and a second.
I make a motion to adjourn from the public meeting.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Ms. Farhandi.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right, we're going to move on into our next meeting, and that's the regular meeting. And I'll ask for a roll call, and that will begin at 5/11/2021. And I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Desiree Fowler, Board Clerk.
McCary, member.
Sandra Kidman.
Chuck Weiss.
Thank you, sir. Bob Candelaria, Board President, and Mr. Wallen, introduce, please. Mr. Wallen, introduce yourself, please. Thank you. I'm sorry. I didn't speak loud enough.
Larry Wallen, Superintendent.
Thank you. And Lynn Hoffman joined us, Executive Secretary of the Board. And so thank you very much. And our first order, let's join together in a moment of silence, moment of silent meditation. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, and all motion that we approve minus an item under section 3, special business, item D. That's targeted for support and improvement presentation by Jeannie Wood. Unfortunately, Ms. Wood went home sick today, and so I would ask for the motion to reflect that we will reschedule that at a later date. I need a second.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. And I understand we don't have any announcements and comments this evening. So we'll move on to special business. Under special business, A, recognition of PUSD retirees. And I believe Mrs. Kidman. No, you don't have them? I'm sorry?
You're going to just read their names off and the administrators are going to.
Oh, in this particular write-up, I don't have that. I'm sorry. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I've got a. Got you. Okay, first item, I'm sorry, I jumped over that. And this is the board will acknowledge the following individuals. That's our first item of business, who are retiring from Page Unified School District. Yes. Man, I tell you what, I'm all over the place.
Not mute.
Yeah.
Desiree, you're not on mute.
Sorry, you skipped item B.
Okay, let's do that. I apologize, guys. Let's go ahead and do that, and I'll lead us in the pledge. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, now off to special business, a recognition of PUSD retirees.
Excuse me, approval of agenda.
We already did that.
We did? Oh,
yeah,
okay,
we did that.
got it.
We're good. So we're going to acknowledge the following individuals who are retiring for Page Unified School District. And I understand we have some of the superintendents that will be actually acknowledging those retirees. And first on our list is Mr. Aaron Anderson, Lisa Covington.
Thank you. So we do recognize and honor Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson, Aaron Anderson, has been with PUSD for 23 years, but has been teaching for a total of 35 years or more, as it's been documented. I have had a privilege of seeing Mr. Anderson work with the children and grandchildren of students he once taught when he was a PE teacher and the coach at the high school for the last 2 years. He has led the district's secondary students in the Presidential Fitness Challenge, first at the high school and now at the middle school. He is a giant in stature and in legacy, and he will leave great shoes to be filled as he moves on to enjoy his family and his seasoned freedoms. Thank you for your service, Mr. Anderson, and for restructuring our physical education program at the Page Middle School. We appreciate your dedication and hard work. Your efforts and we honor you on this day.
And I'll just add a couple of things that personally have affected my family in very intimate ways. Aaron Anderson came here as a teacher, but also as a coach, and he coached basketball for the boys programs. And a couple of my kids had an opportunity to play for him, and it was just tremendous. And anyway, he's always been a supporter of the kids, not only in the classroom but also in the extracurricular arena. He brought a tremendous expertise to that program. So Aaron, you just have a great retirement. Thank you. Next on the list is Dawn Roberts. Mary Stahl.
Okay, it's actually Dawn Williams.
Williams, okay.
Yes. This is the first year that I worked with Dawn. We immediately connected because her son Peter was in my English class at Page High School back in 2010, and her daughter graduated with mine from Page High School in 2015. Dawn is the epitome of patience. Remote learning has been a challenge for most of our students and teachers, but she learned what she needed to do to make it work this year. Her third graders became adept at navigating through her very well-organized Google Classroom, but it took a lot of time for them to learn that platform. And I never saw her get frustrated when students asked her for the 1000th time where to find something. Her patience and understanding created a nurturing environment for them to learn how to learn in this new way. Dawn has 36 years of teaching experience under her belt. 23 of those years were in Page. She started her student teaching in the spring of 1985 at Page Elementary, which was located in the Desert View building. She told me that she taught with R2D2, a teaching team led by Evelyn Roberts and Linda Dew. That fall, she had her own classroom and it was filled with preschoolers. For the next 12 years, she would teach kindergarten and first grade. She moved away to St. George and taught at a private Christian school where she had kindergartners, first, second, and third graders together in one room. She came back to PUSD in 2010 and taught at our preschool for 7 years until moving to Desert View to teach third grade. Even though she's leaving PUSD, she is not leaving the teaching profession. She will continue teaching at the Christian school at her church, and she is looking forward to that. We appreciate her service and contribution to our students. We know she's made a difference in many lives.
Thank you, Ms. Stahl, and thank you, Dawn. Next on the list is Peggy Manygoats and Ms. Covington.
So Miss Peggy Manygoats has been an employee of PUSD for 22 years. She started as a paraprofessional and worked her way into a full-time teaching position. I have been honored to know Ms. Manygoats for 4 years as she has served Page Middle School as the Navajo language teacher. In addition to being knowledgeable about Navajo history and culture, she operates with such grace and dedication to her work that is framed by her concern for her students and a commitment to developing their understanding of themselves and Navajo traditions and understandings. She has a peaceful way of managing her class that yields positive results. Students respect her as an elder on our campus, and her presence will be missed tremendously. Thank you for your work and your service, Ms. Manygoats. We welcome you to be a part of our extended PMS community of stakeholders as a guest speaker, a school elder, or in any way you would like to contribute to our growing community of learners. Thank you for your service.
Thank you so much. Next on our list is Linda Totticini, Mrs. Warner.
I have the privilege of recognizing Mrs. Linda Totticini and her accomplishments here at Lakeview Primary School. To help me in recognizing her, I've reached out to a couple of the colleagues that she worked with most closely while she was a reading paraprofessional in the reading zone. Mrs. Chelsea Hendrickson, who is also a paraprofessional who worked alongside Mrs. Totticini, says these nice words about her. Linda and I started in the reading zone at the same time, and from the very first day, I knew I'd found a great friend and coworker. She was very dedicated to teaching her students and helping them succeed in reading. She was always coming up with inventive and fun ways to help our struggling kiddos. We shared a lot of stories and laughs over the 8 years we worked together. She was a valued member of our Lakeview family and will be greatly missed. I also was able to receive another submission from Mrs. Susan Van Ostrand, who was a reading specialist here at Lakeview, or who currently is. And she says, I had the absolute pleasure to work with Linda Tottacini for 6 years. As a reading para, she worked with small groups of students who struggled with reading. I was continually amazed at her intuition on what students needed. Her groups of students always made amazing growth. She planned her instruction and adjusted it where needed. She was always willing to take on any project that I asked of her. She was a great team member. We all miss having her at Lakeview, but wish her all the best on her retirement.
Thank you very much. We've got an individual on our list, Lisa Lane. And again, because of COVID, she retired and she's volunteering now, but I felt very, very appropriate to acknowledge this. And so Lisa Lane, she was at Desert View under Rich Van Nostrand. And it's an honor and privilege to speak on behalf of our retiree, Lisa Lane. Lisa started with the Page Unified School District in April of 1990. She served as a teaching assistant at Lakeview Elementary, where her colleagues described her as extremely dependable, makes deep and meaningful connections with the students, and contributed to the overall success of the school in many ways. Towards the end of her 30-year career with Page Unified School District, Lisa moved to Desert View and brought her many years of experience and knowledge to the English language program. While working at Desert View, Lisa was described as exceptional, devoted to the students, and once again, superb at building relationships with students. While the children of PUSD, faculty, and staff will miss Lisa's continuous positive can-do attitude, we as an organization wish her the very best in retirement. Thank you, Lisa Lane, for 30 fantastic years in PUSD. And we also had a note from Ms. Erminia Tenpenny that I'll read, and it says, I have had the opportunity to work with Lisa when she was an EL paraprofessional for Michelle Kelnimtawa. Lisa did a great job working with the students individually. She had high expectations and believed every student could succeed. Lisa took special care in those that needed additional attention for emotional support or academic help. She would run groups or do whatever was asked of her to ensure the students were getting everything they needed. She was a great asset to Page USD. Next on the list is Terry Simmons. Mary Stahl.
Terry Simmons has 32 years of teaching experience. 30 of those years have been in Page. She's taught kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and fourth grade. She's also been a reading specialist. Most of her teaching experience, 16 years to be exact, has been in the art classroom. This year, due to external factors, Terry moved from teaching art to back to teaching fourth grade. This was a courageous and difficult decision, but she willingly did it. So not only was she teaching a different subject, but she had to learn all the ins and outs of remote learning. She remained open-minded and worked hard to learn the new curriculum and Google Classroom. When asked what she's going to miss the most, she says her students. She believes that we have so many gifted artists among our students, and she's right. In retirement, she plans on spending time making her own art, stained glass, watercolor painting, and pottery. She also plans to kayak, hike, and travel to visit her family and grandchildren. I admire Terry's dedication to our students and thank her for many years of service.
Thank you, Mrs. Stahl. And if I got this right, we've got Ann King and Mrs. Covington.
Mrs. King. When Ms. King decided to come back to serve in PUSD, she selected Page Middle School to be the place. And I was forewarned at that time that she loves and cares about our students. I have found that statement to be very true. Ms. King has been an educator for over 21 years, and she's been a servant of Page Unified School District for 9 years. She has retired multiple times and seems to always find her way back to serving our student community. I have had the privilege of working with Ms. King for 2 years as she took on the challenge of facilitating a social studies class and then became our ELL and reading specialist. Ms. King has a big heart and she genuinely cares about students' cognitive and academic growth and ability. She challenges our students to meet their learning goals and rise above to attain individual and collaborative greatness. This year has been wrought with many ups and downs, and Ms. King made the best of it. Ms. King, you will be missed. We appreciate you for who you are, for your service, and for your undying dedication to growing the students in our community with selfless ambition. Thank you for your service.
Thank you very much. And just an added extended thank you all for all your service here at Page Unified School District. And we as a board just extend to you the best in what you choose to do, where you choose to go. And thank you once again. Any other board members have anything that they'd like to say? Okay. Let's go on to item B, recognition of Page Unified School District Employees of the Month. And I get the privilege of doing that. And it looks like we've got 2 sets of different employees, one for the April and one for the May terms. And so I'll acknowledge these. In April, the Certified Pride recipient was Wendy Gilbert, 4th grade teacher at Desert View Intermediate, nominated by Samantha Wright, student achievement teacher at Desert View Intermediate, and Terry Simmons, elementary art teacher at Desert View Intermediate. This is what they had to say about you, Wendy. She's always showing a positive attitude. Every day she's there for students and challenging them to do their best. She currently has a classroom with ELL, gifted, and SPED students. She is always striving to teach the needs of each of these groups of students. Her students' CFA scores have been rising every week since the beginning of the year, which shows the growth and progress of her students and the excellence in her teaching. She is super helpful to her team by helping to create weekly slideshows for both reading and math. She's the AVID leader at our school and has led the AVID team to create several presentations and PD opportunities to help our school become more knowledgeable of the AVID strategies that will best assist our teachers during this crazy year. Wendy's not only an amazing teacher, but an amazing person who puts others before herself. That was from Samantha Wright. And from Terry Simmons, Wendy Gilbert is an excellent teacher. She's been teaching the English language learners along with regular students. Many of her regular students are gifted. This is challenging teaching, to say the least, to so many levels at the time. She also works as an AVID teaching coach for the rest of the teachers at DVI. She contributes to our 4th grade teacher with many resources to teach each week's standard. She is an effective teacher who also helps the rest of us along the way. She's worked as a team leader for several years, adding to her load. This school year, Wendy has 2 special needs students in her class that increase her planning and focus in her class. Wendy is doing an incredible job in her teaching and in touching the lives of her students and co-workers. That from Terry Simmons. Congratulations, Wendy. Appreciate that. You are the April Pride recipient certified. The classified Pride recipient is Olivia Benally, a paraprofessional at Manson Mesa High School, nominated by Spencer Kimball, music teacher at Manson Mesa. The first nomination, gosh, we've got 2 nominations here. Olivia goes above and beyond to make her school a good place for everyone to work. She's a long record of excelling and doing special things for students and staff as a regular practice, often at her own expense. Everyone she works with is welcomed onto the staff and treated like a family member. She has sewn masks for fellow staff members out of her own expense. She has taken the lead on the biggest challenges when students have had difficult days and resolved them through restorative justice practices. She contributes resources to feed people. Her and Ms. J have cooked for and fed our school staff before Thanksgiving. That's from Kimball. Here's a second one. This is from Kimball as well. Olivia supports all of her students and co-workers. She contributes a lot of her personal time and resources to help Manson Mesa be a positive work environment, warm and welcoming school. Olivia is willing to devote extra energy to make the school run well, including sewing and handing out special adjustable masks for each colleague. And Olivia is willing to devote extra energy to make the school run well, including sewing and handing out special adjustable masks for each colleague. And she has been leading the temperature check process. She somehow finds material for masks with printed themes and matches members of the staff. She has been leading, along with Miss Jutras. She donated and sponsored a Navajo taco dinner before Thanksgiving that they teamed up to prepare for all the staff. That from Spencer Kimball. Congratulations, Olivia Benally. The May recipients, the Certified Pride recipient is Benjamin Dalton, Earth Science teacher in Page High School, nominated by Aaron Lively, science teacher at Page High School. Ben is an integral member of the PHS Science Department. He leads our weekly PLC meetings with a purpose and advocates for the department and what is best for our students and forms relationships with students. Ben is also very involved with the school outside the classroom. He coaches the girls' soccer team, sponsors Upward Bound, is on the school leadership team, to name a few. Ben has gone above and beyond this year to help not only his science team, but all teachers. He covers classes on his prep without complaint and collaborates with the mentors, our newest science team member. We would not be where we are this year without Ben Dalton. With all of the challenges that we have faced, he keeps his chin up, a smile on his face, and perseveres. His attitude and work ethic are contagious, and we can't help but follow his lead. Ben has excelled in many areas. One of his noteworthy achievements is in his involvement and active participation with our advisory program. He was an integral participant in the formation of the class, along with training staff members and designing curriculum for it. Ben really excels in all that he does. When he takes on a task, he puts in 150%, works towards an end goal that benefits our students and their needs. From Aaron Lively, thank you, Ben Dalton, Certified Pride recipient for the month of May. And now the Classified Pride recipient, Sharon Draper. She's a computer teacher at Desert View Intermediate. She's nominated by Lauren Beers, third grade teacher at Desert View, Josh Brink, music teacher at Desert View, Wendy Gilbert, fourth grade teacher at DV, and Francis Tucker, fifth grade teacher at DV. Man, just a few of the characteristics they wanted to list: positive, altruistic, helpful, eager, determined, caring, thoughtful, energetic, wise, and invested. Sharon is one of the most positive people I know. She actively inquires about how to make lessons more engaging and strives to ensure all students are learning not only in her classroom, but in all of Desert View. Sharon is willing to do whatever it takes to help students and teachers alike. For example, Sharon jumped at the chance to help monitor OSS and is always eager to sub. When subbing, Sharon works to ensure that she fully understands the sub plan so that students never miss a day of learning. Sharon is always the first person to volunteer when teachers need help, leading a small group for reading or math in a classroom. Not only does Sharon go above and beyond to meet the academic needs of her students, but she also spends time getting to know each student on an individual level. She has a lot of valuable insight into the backgrounds of our students at Desert View, and Sharon truly embodies what it means to show pride in all we do. Desert View is lucky to have such a dedicated and altruistic educator. From Lauren Beers, Josh Brink, Wendy Gilbert, and Fran Tucker, thank you guys very much for a very worthy nomination. Classified Pride recipient, Sharon Draper, for the month of May. Thank you very much. Thanks all of you, to all you employees and for those Pride Awards. Next on the agenda is item C, recognition of PUSD Students of the Month. Desiree Fowler, that's your honor.
So from Lakeview Primary, Sky Yazzie. Sky was nominated by his kindergarten teacher, Miss McCluff, because he does an excellent job showing his pride in and out of the classroom. He looks and listens when I am teaching and completes his work while staying on task. He also shows his pride in the hallway, during bathroom transitions, and on the playground. Sky is also an excellent friend to so many of his classmates. He is constantly helping new students and as they navigate through the school routine. Sky is a great student to have in our classroom. Congratulations, Sky Yazzie.
There you go, Sky.
Desert View Intermediate, Elvira Sabalina. Elvira was nominated by her art teacher, Mr. Brigstorm. He says that she is always engaged in the lesson and often helps others with difficult concepts. She concentrates while doing her job, her project as it shows in her finished artwork. Elvira is dedicated to completing her assignments and gets everything turned in. Congratulations. Page Middle School. Avery Scott. Avery Scott is a Lachie student of the month for Page Middle School. Avery is an 8th grade recent in-person learner. He lives with his aunt, Evangeline Benelli, and is a grandchild of Darlene Scott. I selected Avery as a student of the month because he is an extremely motivated and excellent student that has no issues with self-advocacy and hard work. All of this and his attention to detail will undoubtedly set him up for success in the future. Congratulations, Avery. Page High School, Nathaniel Summers. Nathaniel was nominated by his teacher, Ms. Condor, because he works extra hard. He turns in all work on time and receives feedback with grace. He takes advantage of opportunities to show what he knows through assignments that provide him with extra challenges. He is a consistent role model in the classroom, both virtually and in person. Nathaniel earned a spot in the high honor roll first semester. His near perfect attendance allowed him to get involved in his education and continue striving for academic excellence. Congratulations, Nathaniel. Manson Mesa High School, Isaiah Jump. Isaiah is a distant learner and shows such tremendous effort in everything he does. His positive attitude brings changes the class dynamic. He is always willing to participate in the classroom discussion and to be part of the classroom, even on the computer. Isaiah is a prime example of an amazing student here at Manson Mesa High School. I am truly grateful to be able to be one of his teachers, and that paragraph was by Miss Justra. Isaiah Jump is very determined this quarter. He is working on getting credits in 2 ELA classes to get back on track. Isaiah has a great attitude throughout his day at Manson Mesa High School. He is respectful and tries his best to do all that he does. It is a pleasure to have Isaiah in class, and that was by Corey Fitch Adams. Congratulations, Isaiah. Sage and Sands Virtual Academy, Mackenzie Wheeler. Mackenzie has shown great progress and potential as a junior in Sage and Sands Virtual Academy. Since enrolling in January, Mackenzie has already completed several 8th grade courses and is well on her way to getting ahead on her 12th grade courses. Mackenzie has shown a lot of drive and ambition with her coursework and also has a great year playing on the Page High School girls tennis team. Congratulations, Mackenzie.
Congratulations. Congratulations, all the students. Great work as we wrap up this school year. Boy, finishing strong. Thank you so much. We did table item D, so we'll move on to item E, presentation and recognition of PHS AVID seniors. And I believe that's going to be done by Miss Erin Lively, Page High School.
Hello.
Hi, Erin.
Let me, I don't know, I can't see everybody because I had to join from my phone, unfortunately. But if, first of all, I want to say to the board, thank you for taking the time to recognize the hard work and dedication this year AVID seniors have put into accomplishing this milestone. Just briefly, before I turn it over to senior speakers, I want to give special thanks to Miss Shania Valentine. The work she does with these young ladies and gentlemen is superb, and she is a model AVID mom. I also want to point out that this particular group of seniors, 22 of them are graduating from the AVID program have earned just under $230,000 in scholarships as a whole. They have been accepted into 25 different colleges and universities. And they will be walking on Saturday with a potential 353 college credits among them before they even receive their high school diploma. I would like to turn it over to our first AVID senior speaker, Marissa Fowler, if she's able to join. Marissa, are you there?
I'm here.
Awesome.
Okay. Yad asla asigo shike shidine do shide yona. Shimmer safala yunishe, nashashanishle, glashti, bashischin, yaitin, tachini, dine dashiche, nadan oskle nash eja dashinella. Hello, my name is Marissa. I'm an AVID senior. I've been in AVID for approximately 5 years, 3 years in high school and 2 years in middle school. Let me start off by saying AVID has done so much for me. It has given me hope and a safe place to grow. I've created bonds with my peers and created memories to last a lifetime. It has motivated me to achieve new heights and has given me the drive to do my best. I probably would not have taken so many rigorous courses if it wasn't for AVID. I'm grateful for the opportunities it has given me as well. I was able to visit campuses and learn more about the college process. I feel like I wouldn't have been this prepared for college if it weren't for AVID. I wasn't able to take AVID my junior year, and it really showed me how important AVID is to me. I struggled and didn't have a stable place to gather myself. I felt a little lost that year, but because I had no support from an AVID mentor or from my peers, I struggled because I didn't have AVID there, but now I'm taking it this year. I feel prepared and ready to take the next step in my education. This is all thanks to AVID. Okay, thank you.
Marissa, can you tell us where you're going next and what you're doing?
Yeah, of course. I will be attending NAU in the fall of 2021, and I'll be studying environmental science.
Okay, is Latasha on? How about Jaren?
I don't see any other students on here, Erin.
Okay, Latasha Slim and Jaren Robinson were going to speak. They may have had trouble. I know the students struggle with internet and Zoom. So I think that's it for us as far as senior recognition for the AVID program. Thank you again.
First of all, Erin, hey, thank you so much. It's so awesome to hear what I consider just great success stories. But I want to speak a little bit to Ms. Fowler, but anyone else have something to say before we go on to the next? Anybody have something to say? I know you have something to say.
Ich hätte en schago en kutje Adelson sin si aje do ich hätte en schago annent au ultra be naso di nas dona jono shin be naso I nas do leis. Thank you, Marissa, and I am so grateful I get to see you strive this far in your young teenage life, and I am so proud of you, and I'm super excited for your accomplishment, and I wish you the very best. Congratulations.
Anybody else?
Yeah, can I say something?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. Congratulations, Marissa. I'm happy for you. I hope you'll do well at college. I'm sure you're well prepared. And that's the point I want to make is I'm always impressed with our AVID students because they're very articulate and they're very self-confident. And I remember a few years ago, we had a group of AVID freshmen come in and they were shaking in their boots, so scared to look at us. And then we saw them again 4 years later, and it was just absolutely amazing the confidence they had and how articulate they were, as I said before. And I see the same thing in you, Marissa, and I'm sure we would see the same thing in the other two students. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Anybody else, board members?
Yes, Bob, I'd just like to congratulate Marissa as well as a new board member. It's good to see you and your classmates moving forward and taking that next level. You know, hard work, sacrifice. You know, that all equals success. So don't give up. Keep moving forward. Be strong and get that degree, that next level. Congratulations.
Anybody else? Ms. McCary.
Can you hear me? I'd like to
Yes.
congratulate you, Marissa. Just really impressed with your confidence and also your guidance and direction. I've been just so impressed with your presentation. So, a lot of success. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dee. I'll just add mine, Marissa. Man, it's so awesome to hear you. And I think Des said something about being a confident young lady, and you exude that. And I can't tell you how proud we are of you, and just how exciting I think your next years will be. And I can see Mama Lively already, she's already blushing and red. Just, that's your daughter. I mean, that's your, you know what? These teachers have such a heart, and I can just see it every time they look at students like you and anyone else that comes into their classrooms or under their tutelage or anything like that. But we wish you nothing but the best. And I'm gonna ask you to do something for me. You have a lot of friends here in Page Unified School District, right? Show them what it takes, but also let them know how it's going, so they know it's achievable. And because you're gonna do very, very well. And again, we want to hear from you when you leave, and we want to hear how you're doing. So hopefully we have a system in place where you could give us a lot of feedback. But just excited to see be part of that journey. So we'd love to hear from you. And congratulations again. Aaron, way to go. Isn't that cool? And how many others did you say you had? 25?
I had Marissa in middle school and freshman
Okay, so
year.
you knew her well. So yeah.
Yes, I had her for AVID 7th and 9th,
8th.
but
Okay.
Shannon Valentine leads our senior AVID class.
Yeah, good. Awesome. Well, way to go. That's passing the baton, and in this case, passing Fowler off to someone else to complete the process. But hey, foundation is the most important thing that you give these kids. And so I want to just congratulate you in a tremendous way. Thank you so much. All right, great. Man, that's good stuff. All right, next on our agenda, I love that, $230,000 to those AVID seniors going on to 25 different colleges. That's nice. Item F, recognition of Page High School students applying for the Chief Manuelito Scholarship. And Ann Martin, I believe you're on this one.
Good evening, board president and members, as well as our superintendent Wallen and other guests to this board meeting. It is a great honor to share with you the class of 2021 candidates for the Chief Manuelito Scholarship. They are Jonah Holiday, Rex Martin, Gavin Nakadene, Enzi Norton, Nev Redhair, and Ikaika Uejo. Gavin Nakadene is also an AVID senior. Nice. These students have worked hard each year of high school to maintain a 3.0 GPA or higher, score a 21 or higher on the ACT, take at least 2 years of Navajo language, as well as a course in Navajo government. They have also been recommended by their counselor and completed the application process with ONSFA, the Office of Navajo Nation Scholarship and Financial Assistance. This process is still ongoing as they are candidates. The application deadline is in June, and their application will be reviewed and move forward from there. The Chief Manuelito Scholarship is the most prestigious scholarship awarded from the Navajo Nation. The scholarship is stackable. This means that it can be awarded on top of all other scholarships. One of our counselors calls it the cherry on top of all other scholarships that our students receive. It is a great honor. The Chief Manuelito Scholarship amounts to $7,000 per year, renewable each year, making it hold a $28,000 value. I want to thank our academic counselors, Ms. Jones and Ms. Naknade, for the work with the students over the years and the guidance through the application process. We are very proud of these students. We look forward to hearing what happens next in this process to get the scholarship. Thank you for honoring them.
Great, that's awesome. I just remind us, the Manuelito, we don't hear about that until sometime in June, is that correct?
Yes, so the application deadline is June 25th, and then from there we get communication about when the winners are announced.
Okay, very good. Board members, any comments? Okay, again, I just say congratulations to you and the staff. I know it takes a lot to for these kids to achieve those kind of things. ACT score, you got to be right up there, and it looks at more of a career journey in high school for sure. And so again, congratulations, Ms. Martin, and our best to every one of those students, and as they continue on in their education. So thank you very much.
Thank you all for honoring them.
Item G, recognition and approval of donations made to the district. This is an action item. I'll read the donation. I'll need a motion in a second. The donations listed: craft supplies for classroom decor, educational manipulatives, office supplies, books, personal laminator worksheets and calendar materials, donation valued at $50. And it doesn't say where it's come from, but it's just a motion there.
Sorry,
And a second.
the donation was from Callie Couts, or no, I'm Colby Couts.
Colby Couts? Okay, from Colby Couts. Thank you very much. Action item?
I make a motion to approve the donation made to the district.
Thank you.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And again, thank you to Calby Couts. On to item number 4. That's going to be the board governing reports. And who'd like to start us off? Anything? Anybody? Okay, go, Ms. Fowler.
I just want to mention that I did attend the ASBA pre-conference and conference of the equity event. A lot of great information, great speakers, and there were 3, I believe, 3 really awesome, just lost the word, presenters that did a phenomenal job in talking about equity, and there was a lot of great information shared. So I just want to acknowledge ASBA for an amazing conference. And so there's a lot of great talk about inclusion. I mean, just across the board diversity. So it was neat. Great stuff. And it was primarily focused on Hispanic, Latinx culture, but it was very informative. And I believe that we do have a rising number in our Hispanic students as well too. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Ms. Fowler. Anybody else? Okay. Oh, Ms. Skidman.
Okay, thank you. I
ma'am.
just wanted to be able to say that I attended 2 orchestra concerts, middle school and high school, and I was really impressed with what the students were able to do. Most of them weren't able to rehearse together for months and months and months. And it was just absolutely amazing what they were able to pull off. And I want to take the opportunity to thank Ms. Hesse for a fabulous program. And I'm going to be carefully and closely watching what happens next. And then I was also able to see 2 track meets. So good job, Bob, there with your announcements.
Oh,
As usual, as usual, it was an enjoyable radio voice event. So good job.
thanks. All right, anybody else? Ms. McCary, you got anything? Okay, thank you. I will say, and again, I heard so much about the music programs and the great work Ms. Hesse is doing, and we can hardly wait to get back to normal. Because I think that everybody's been affected, but I know the music program's really been affected because not having those abilities to be able to blend everyone together the way they normally do. But we're looking forward to better environments in the next school year, hopefully. So again, thank you very much. But I get the opportunity of every year. I look forward to this time of year because we do track meets, and from first graders all the way to fifth. One highlight of the first day, I think it was a guy named Isaiah and Tyler, second graders. They were rounding the first at the end of the first turn, and they had a pile up on Highway 89. I mean, both of them went down, and it was really great because Tyler was leading, and he ran into Isaiah, and he fell. Isaiah was running, and Isaiah stopped, and he came back. He picked up his buddy off the track, and they both ran along, and Tyler won the race. So I thought that was just so cool to see that kind of interaction with our kids. And very rarely do we see a record set anymore. We have records going back to, this was the 42nd annual Walters and Wilson track meet. And we have records that go all the way back. And most of our records are still standing after 30 years. And this year, one of the records was broken, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. But it was one of our fourth graders. His name was Max Martin, a little old guy. And I think he jumped his height pretty much. I mean, he went 4'3". And so that was a record that was set in 1990, but then tied in 1998. So Max Martin's got his name on the eternal board of elementary school track meet Sand Devil history. Oh, they're Bobcat history. That was Desert View. So anyway, they're really fun. We got the fifth grade left, but that's all I got. Superintendent Wallen.
Thank you very, very much. Last week was an exciting week. Last week was Teacher Appreciation Week, following national principals several months ago. Teacher Appreciation Week. And Wednesday's Cinco de Mayo was also Teacher Appreciation Day. I did a conference last night, virtual conference with teachers last night, and one teacher said she received so many notes and communications from her students. She was just glowing. She was so full of goodwill. It was just tremendous to see. That was an awesome event that we put on and got support for our teachers. Tomorrow is May the 12th. Mark this down on your calendar. Tomorrow, the emergency broadband benefit goes into place, and people can apply for that benefit. It's eligible households will be able to enroll in the program to receive discounts off their broadband program for about $50 a month, and then $75 if they're on federal lands, $50 per household. So go to getemergencybroadband.org, log in and get yourself involved in that program. It will be tremendous. If that doesn't work, call your broadband provider, and they should be able to set you up. All of our providers in this area are on the list. So that is a tremendous benefit that will go on for several months and maybe even a year more. So that is just tremendous. Our testing has been going well. The ELL testing, gifted testing, has 72% of their students district-wide testing, and their goal is to get 80%. So that's 133 gifted students in the district, and then 182 ELL students getting that. Then did you know that Ed Services, Miss Williams and her staff distributed 477 food bags last month to families? 477 food bags. So you divide that by 20 days of the month. That gives you, wow, how many they delivered every day. Right now, they have 52 families signed up for food programs when they receive food bags from St. Mary's, and they're continuing to begin to organize and put that together for the summer. And so that is a real exciting endeavor. We are in in-person learning, and we have about 50% of our students coming in. Most of them are from in town. We have about 183 kids coming in on the bus. So those kinds of things are just really happening. In terms of our achievement testing, we got the reports back, and we have about 80% to 85% of our students coming in. Remember, the AZ Merit 2 had to be in person. So 80 to 85% of our students showing up for testing in person over the past couple of weeks and doing their makeups. So that has been a tremendous, tremendous compliment to our teachers, providing the incentive for those kids to get in, and to our students for demonstrating what they know. Now, the next step, parents, is you want to remember, is my student at grade level? You want to ask that question when the results come in. Is my student at grade level? And that'll be the next step as we move forward. And those are some of the things that are happening school-wide, district-wide. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Unfinished business, there's none. We have the governing board consent agenda. Ms. Fowler, will you read our statement, please?
A copy of the consent agenda is available at the district administration office. All items listed will be considered as a unit by the governing board and will be approved with one motion. There will not be a separate discussion of these items unless a board member requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered as a separate item.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda, please.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda and request that item 6G, line item 8, is for separate discussion, please.
6G, line item 8, okay?
I second that motion.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, so the next thing on the agenda would be pulled out of the consent agenda. And that is, as I understand it, Ms. Skidman, the approval for the removal of the retiree contract.
No.
And, no, that's my G. Hold on a second. Why don't you read it for us, please?
Hold on. Item 6G is approval of ratification of routine personnel.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I'm just not seeing it here. I apologize. So 6. Gee, I don't know why I cannot find that. Oh, 6G, hold on. Okay, yeah, okay, gotcha. All right, very good. Go ahead and.
Line item 8, I can't support that in good faith, and I would ask that we either have a further discussion with the superintendent or executive session regarding personnel items.
Okay, hold on one second. I'm seeing this. Okay, go ahead and make a motion to do what you would like with that, please. Let's see if we can move on with it.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we have an executive session regarding personnel.
Okay.
At a upcoming board meeting.
Okay, very good. I've got a motion to regard item 8, is that correct?
Yeah, line item 8.
Line item 8 at a different board meeting under executive session. I'll need a second. I'll go ahead and second it.
I'll second.
Okay, we got to get second from Chuck. Okay, any further conversation? Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. We will schedule that, Ms. Hoffman, for a future board meeting? Okay, hold on a second. I've lost everything. All right.
Bob, I think that Mr. Wallen wants to say something.
Oh, yes, sir. Superintendent Wallen.
Larry, you're muted.
I'm sorry, Mr. Candelaria, can the board approve the remaining items on the list so we can move forward with those employees?
We already did that.
Oh, you only did line 8, you said.
No, we approved everything except line 8.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
is that's good, Superintendent Wallen?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. All right, we're set. And Lynn, you'll take care of that for us. Okay. All right. Next up on our agenda is calendar events, I believe. And if you check your calendar out, we got some highlights this week. And those highlights happen to be surrounding graduations. And I think we're all set, Ms. Hoppin. I think you've listed those particular events. Sage and Sand, the 12th, tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. We're excited about that. Our first Sage and Sand graduation. And I think if I'm not mistaken, we've got 2 graduates. Is that correct? Maybe?
I think that's what she said, yes.
All right, 2. And then we've got Manson Mesa. Both of those will be at the CAB at 7 o'clock p.m. Manson Mesa will be on the 13th. And I think there was something like 8 graduating. Is that correct? 5 graduating. Okay, thank you. And then it's all about the seniors on the 15th at 2 o'clock p.m. So bring all your Kentucky Derby hats so you can stay under sun and shade. Page High School graduation. And any comments in terms of what are we going to hear this later in the agenda? But how many folks will each senior be able to bring? Do we know?
6.
6. Okay, so each senior will have 6 people to come in. All right, good. All right, so we're excited about that. Any other comments regarding calendar of events?
Can I just add on to what you had mentioned about the Page High School graduation? Just a
Sure.
reminder that it will be streamed on YouTube as well too, on the
Good.
district YouTube page.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Excuse me, Mr. Candelaria.
Yeah.
I believe that Manson Mesa and Sage and Sand will be streamed on Facebook, just for that info.
Okay, great. All right, so you got Page High School on YouTube, you said, correct? And then Sage and Sand on Facebook. Okay, perfect. All right, thank you. Any other comments? All right, let's see where we are here. Got to make sure of where I'm at. Okay. So now we go to additional agenda items. And first on the list, we've got item A, revision number 3 to annual expenditure budget for the 2020-21 school year. This is an action item. I'll need a motion in a second.
I make a motion to approve the agenda item annual expenditure budget for 2020 through 2021 school year.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Ms. D. Okay, we have a motion and second to adopt. All in favor? Any comment? Having none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. The next item is B, Assistant Principal, Lakeview Elementary. This is an action item. I'll need a motion in a second so we can discuss.
I make a motion to approve the hiring and appointment of Lakeview Assistant Principal.
Thank you.
For 2021-22.
Thank you very much.
I second that motion.
We do have a motion and a second. Mr. Wallen.
Mr. President, members of the board, the Lakeview Assistant Principal position was posted July 17th, 2020, and has been vacant most of the year. We have screened applicants, but we have not found any that we found acceptable. So after the search, there was an additional paper screening that was done, and the interviews were conducted on March the 11th, and recommendation was to hire Ms. Wanda Burton as the Lakeview Assistant Principal. Ms. Burton is currently principal in the Sacramento Elementary District. She was a former teacher and school improvement facilitator for Page Unified School District, so we're very glad to have her coming back to our school.
Okay, any comments or questions, board members? Okay, thank you. We have a motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you very much. Item C, certified physical therapist assistant position and job description. Action item, I'll need a motion and second to consider.
I make a motion to to approve the certified physical therapist assistant position and job description.
A second?
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Superintendent Wallen.
Mr. President, members of the board, requesting the board to authorize the position of certified physical therapy assistant and approve the job description. The position, the FTE full-time employee would be 1.0, depending on the needs and goals of our students who require such services. We currently contract for physical therapy services, and that this process becomes less cost efficient, the need for the staff will only increase with our student needs. The supervision of the position is with the Director of Education Support Services. So this is authorizing a 1.0 FTE and approving the job description.
Okay. Any comments? Any further comments, board members? Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you very much. Item D, Dene language teaching positions for 2021-22 and revised job description for Dene language teacher. I'll need a motion in a second.
I make a motion to approve the Dene language teaching position for the 2021 through 2022 school year and revised job description for Dene education teacher.
I second the motion.
Do have a motion and a second. Superintendent Wallen.
Mr. President, members of the board, at the board study session, March 23, 2021, I presented a proposal to create a job description for the position of Dene language teacher and request the board to authorize an increase of staff positions to be funded from Title VI, JOM, and Impact Aid. So at Lakeview Elementary right now we have 0, so this would add 1 FTE, and we're hoping to see that begin to develop into an immersion program. Desert View Elementary, we have no Navajo language teacher, that'd be adding 1 FTE. Page Middle School is a 0.5. They've requested to move that to a 1 position. Page High School has 1.5, requesting to move that to 2 FTEs. So that would be an increase, asking the board to authorize an increase of 3 FTEs as the number of positions. Both Ms. Martin and Ms. Covington requested this increase as they're reviewing the job description. The purpose of the positions are to provide a multifaceted approach to maximize students' language experience to impact student achievement. Academic content will be taught using the Dene language standards from the Department of Dene Language and Culture. The standards for Dene language will present to the board for adoption this summer. We're preparing to bring for board adoption the Dene content standards as that foundation for year 1. As the program develops, we want to look at a possible Dene language immersion program for preschool and kindergarten. One of the reasons because of that is that we have a large number of students that tend to enter into special ed in the preschool because they are being labeled as language delay. Of course, they're being tested in English and we have no idea where they are in terms of their native language. So that's something we want to evolve and discuss as we move forward. But right now we want to honor the about 1,700 Navajo students that we have and begin to affirm their language as we go forward. It's part of our equity program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any further comments, questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in the job description, under knowledge, skills, and abilities, it says willingness to go above and beyond to support students in achieving academic goals. What does that mean?
That means that that person may work with those kids, reach out to their parents, possibly be doing some home visits to work with those kids to meet their language needs, academic needs as well.
Can we define that a little bit more? Because to me, that is just very broad, statement in the job description. And I think that could be abused to fire somebody because it's not clearly defined.
We could just take it out.
I mean, I just feel like that is I don't know that I mean that's just so broad. I just don't even I would like a little more definition in that statement. Or you can take it out, I guess.
It'd be easier to take it out because that's in the knowledge and skills area. That's just talking about going above and beyond to support students. So I would recommend we delete it so we can move forward with finding these positions.
Are you okay with that, Miss Kidman?
Yeah, I'm fine with pulling it.
Staff in their contracts, as I understand it, Superintendent Wallen, regardless, they can be asked to do various things that will advance the learning and the engagement with students, I would suspect. Is that correct?
That's correct. And if you look at the job description, that's in the last statement under essential duties and responsibilities, other duties as assigned.
Or
Go ahead.
Superintendent Wallen,
Yes.
I just had a question to the knowledge, skills, and abilities on that as well. Wouldn't you also include for knowledge, skills, and abilities, culture, understanding the culture? It's just a thought,
Yes, I thought that was.
I didn't see it in there, but I just thought it.
Under the second bullet in the essential duties and responsibilities, organize and teach lessons in Dene language development and culture.
Okay.
Curriculum. So it's there, and I believe it's down and a couple of other places as well.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you. Good point.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Any other board members? Any comments, questions? So, Mr. Wallen, you're okay with removing the one statement?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Kidman. If there's nothing further, we have a motion and a second on Dene language teaching positions. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Item E, certified physical education teaching position for Page Middle School for 2021-2022. This is an action item. I'll need a motion and a second to consider.
I make a motion to approve the certified PE teaching position for Page Middle School for 2021-22.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Superintendent Wallen, please.
Mr. President, members of the board, the current staffing model for Page Middle School physical education is one certified teacher who is retiring and a paraprofessional to provide supervision and support to the female side. The current teacher to student ratio is approximately 40-1 and only provides approximately 240 students with an opportunity to take physical education. The addition of a second appropriately certified physical education teacher will double the capacity of the program and provide a wider variety of offerings in physical education. The cost of this addition will be close to the cost neutral between the cost of the retiring teacher and the cost of the paraprofessional. The paraprofessional will be repurposed into an existing position in the district. So we're requesting an additional 1 FTE of physical education teacher for Page Middle School.
Okay, thank you. I know in my experience, I've walking the track a lot and being over at middle school at times and those kind of things. I've seen upwards of 50, 75 kids on a field with one instructor out there. And they're just throwing a ball out and say, hey, go have fun, run around. And so I think that's a good suggestion for improvement at our middle school for sure. Any further comments, questions? And as I understand, as you explained, it's about a budget neutral position.
Correct. We know for sure once the second person comes in where they fall
Right.
on the salary schedule. If we got an experienced person, with 10, 15 years experience, that changes the dynamics a little bit, but we should be able to cover that.
Okay. Any other comments, concerns? Okay, we do have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, good. Thank you very much. Item F, we have a pay adjustment for the Director of Athletic and Events for 2021, 2022. This is an action item. Motion and second, please.
I make a motion to move the pay for adjustment for the Director of the Athletic Events for the 2021-22 school year.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Ms. McCary. We have a motion and a second. Superintendent Wallen.
Mr. President, members of the board, when this was originally proposed, the athletic director position and events coordinator position is also going to pick up the middle school athletics. And also we're looking at a intramural program 3 through 5. So we're assigning additional duties in order to get a continuous 6 through 12 program for interscholastic, and then an intramural program feeding into 3-5.
Okay. Any questions, folks?
Yeah, what is the total increase to the budget?
6,000.
6.
That was the stipend that was in place for the middle school athletic director.
Okay.
Okay, just moving that over for the position. Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Okay, we have motion and second for item F, pay adjustment for Director of Athletic Events in 2021, 2022. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item G, approval for the removal of retiree contract from the contracts offered by the district. Approval of revised contracts for the affected employees for the 2021-2022 school year, and approval to correct and pay for the affected employees for the 2020-21 school year. This is an action item. Need a motion and a second to consider it.
I make a motion to approve
Okay,
for the removal of the retiree contract from the contract offered by the district. Approval of revising contracts for the effective employees for the 2021 through 2022 school year, and approval to correct the pay for the affected employees for the 2022 through 2021 school year.
well done. Okay, thank you. We have a motion. Second?
I second.
Okay, motion and a second. Superintendent Wallen.
Mr. President, members of the board, this is the remaining employees who were on a salary schedule that if they were accepted for a position, so for example, PE teacher, the salary for the PE teacher is whatever, their salary was automatically reduced 20% because they were a retiree. And in each of these cases, each of the employees were placed on that 20% reduction salary schedule. I want us to open up that pathway for retired employees to work for us, because we need to be able to, and bring them in. We've removed that language going forth from the contracts. We have offered for next year, these employees will be able to get medical insurance if they want it. And this will make them whole in terms of what they should have been paid. So again, their salary was just, well, for whatever reason, I've heard different stories about it, was reduced by 20%. And we're asking for the board to restore that 20% so that they will make 100% of their salary for this school year.
What are we talking about?
Excuse me?
Which school year are we talking about? Because we already approved that starting next year.
Right. This is
we
this
could do
year,
that.
2021.
So you're doing this retroactively?
No, I'm asking the board to consider taking their contracts that are at 80% and paying them for their contractual duties at 100% of what the salary schedule says they would be.
For 21, 22.
2021. This year.
So retroactively for 6 months?
If you want to, I guess if you want to say retroactive, to me, it's just taking their certified salary schedule. For example, for the one of the teachers is the Page Middle School PE teacher, and where he would be placed on the salary schedule, his contract was reduced by 20% because he had the label retiree. And I'm saying, let's give him 100% of the salary he's supposed to earn in that position.
So you're paying back, you're okay. I need to understand this. You're actually doing retroactive pay. Is that correct?
We're increasing his current salary to match the salary schedule that he would be on for the
Moving
rest of
forward, starting June
this year.
1st?
This year for the
So
2021.
retroactively.
Okay, yeah, if you want to say that, yes. He's going to get it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I don't understand. Yeah, okay.
Okay,
So
let's say
basically back pay, right?
no, he's getting the pay that he would have gotten if we had followed the salary schedule.
In essence, if he was getting paid $100 less under the 80%, we would pay him for the 8 months or 9 months, that 20% he was missing, the $100. So it'd be retroactive. Is that correct?
If you want to use the word retroactive, yes. So if his salary,
well, what other word do we use?
You're making his contract whole.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
no, I still don't understand. Either it's retroactive or it's not.
Well, then if it helps you look at it, yeah, then it's retroactive.
Okay, then also have another confusion because when I looked at this, there were 6 people on the routine personnel items pay change, and now there's only 5.
According to the document that's attached to this one, there are 8 employees.
Well, I just pulled it up on mine. There's only 5. And it's a different list than I saw earlier. So I need to know who's on that list.
There's only one list, so.
Actually, I see 2 on my side, and I see there's one with 5, and then there's another one with 8.
So which list is which list are we approving?
I'm only showing 8. I'm showing 8 on both my lists.
I mean, and then on sheet 2, I have a Talkiewicz John. I mean, he hasn't worked for us in years. So I'm a little confused.
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then of course, there's 8 for the pay correction.
So why does mine only pull up 5?
I don't know, because everyone should be seeing the same attachment.
I have 2 attachment. There's page 4 and there's one that says 5. May board approval of revised.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying 2 because there's one that has 5 and then the second one.
Would you like me
has
to
8.
read off the names?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay. We have Aaron Anderson, Gerald Kojan, Margaret Leatherberry, Norman Redshirt, Jesse Willie, Kristen Worley, Betty Yellowman, and Laverne Sosi.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I show on my list.
Okay, so that's the list you want approved, not the other one.
Correct. I don't.
There's 2 attachments. It's very confusing.
I'm looking at
Well,
the
does
other-
that
there's one-
list that does that list that was read match your 8 list?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Got it. I don't know why there's 2. That second, the one that Miss Hoffman read into the record is the ones that we want to restore to their.
Okay, then I have one more question. Previous board meeting, you told us you weren't going to do this retroactively. What changed?
When we had this in the study session, I said that what we were looking at was restoring their salaries to the whole, so that if their salary for that position was $50,000, they would get $50,000, not the $10,000 reduction because of the 20% that was in that retiree penalty.
I distinctly remember asking you at a work study session or a board meeting, and I asked from now going forward for next school year, what about retroactively? And you said no. And now we're doing this, so I'm wondering what changed.
I don't know that I understood your question at the time you're talking about, because going forward is that penalty will no longer be in the district salary schedules for next year. So it will not be there. That concept of the 20% penalty.
Yeah,
has
I
been taken
understand
out.
that. That's what we said. That's what we approved previously. But
Right,
at the
that's for
time,
next year.
I also asked you, are you gonna try to give this retroactively? And you said, no, we're just gonna start from then on. And so, but now you're asking us to do it retroactively. So I just want to understand what changed. And
The
how.
word retroactive was not in my paradigm for this event. As I said, is to restore their salaries to whole, to 100% of what they should have earned.
Let me just mention, I know Superintendent Wall and I had some good conversations about it. And I thought we had the same kind of conversation in the work study session. The fact that we did not want to punish retirees, and why have we? And so to try to make it right at this point so that we could be attractive to retirees and ensure that they would get their 100%. And I did understand that they were looking at the contracts for this year. So
Okay.
whatever that would mean. And in terms of dollars, what's our calculation in terms of what's that going to mean for this year's contract?
And that's under number 5 where the vote is.
Right.
For this total group of people will be $70,264.18.
Okay.
And I can clear up the confusion on the 2 attachments.
Right.
One is attached that it indicates it's for the contracts for the 2021 school year. And
Right.
that is the 8 that I just read off. The second attachment is for the revised contracts for the 21-22 school year. So their new contracts for next
Right.
year will be changed to reflect this salary. And Aaron Anderson is retiring, so he is not on that list. Laverne Sosi left earlier this year, so she is not on that list. And Chris Worley has already been done. When hers was originally approved, it was at the 100%. So that's why the second one only has 5 on it, and the first one has 8.
Okay, so, but on the 5th, it says 2021. Is that supposed to say 21, 22?
No,
Oh, well,
the
the 5th is 2021. That is the one that has the amounts on it. That has the retroactive amounts, I
Right.
guess is what we're saying on it. And then the other one, number 4, is the 21-22, the new contracts.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and the purpose of I think we've been discovering as we go along this journey, there are several inequities that we've been looked at and are trying to address to where, first of all, just in this specific, so you can attract and keep retired employees. So, because they're very, 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 very valuable, and so we don't want those contracts to reflect anything. And we've already issued one that is at 100%. And so, anyway, so I don't know if that helps.
And we don't, the ones for 21-22 that language was already moved. So I don't know why they received the contract with that penalty in it. You already removed that in the previous meeting and their contract should have been issued correctly. As
Right.
Lynn said, a couple of others were, those were not.
Yeah, and talking to Dr. Maurer, I know we've had some contracts that just haven't been, I guess, according to our policy and various other things. So all those things are hopefully being cleared up. And I guess that's your understanding too, Superintendent Wallen?
It's correct. As I peel back
All right.
the onion, it gets to be very interesting.
Yeah, okay. All right, any other comments or questions? All right, we do have a motion on the floor for item G and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, good. Thank you very much. Good questions. And we do have to get into these things. So thank you very much for your patience as we move forward. Item H, suspension of board policy BGB related to the first and second reading of recommended revisions to policy IKDB, graduation exercises. This is an action item. I'll need a motion and a second to consider.
I make a motion to approve the suspension of board policy BGB related to the first and second reading of recommended revision to policy IKDB, graduation exercise.
Okay,
A second.
motion and a second. Superintendent Wallen?
Mr. President, members of the board, ASBA advisory and a recent action by the legislature signed by the governor ask us to adopt a policy before graduation starts in this week to change the policy to reflect that Native regalia is appropriate for students to wear. So students can wear their traditional clothes during graduation if they are a member of a tribal nation.
Okay. Any comments, questions?
I have a comment.
Yes.
I mean, I think this was, I seen this approval from the governor's office and also from the state superintendent's office, but there was also some confusion locally here with the Page High School graduation flyer that went out, and there was some miscommunication or misinformation, and there was just, you know, misunderstanding that had taken place within social media to clear that up. But I appreciate that we continue to put the right information out so we're not giving mixed messages from our schools when we're giving out or posting these things. But I appreciate that moving forward, we are recognizing our Indigenous students.
Okay, this, Mr. President, this agenda item is just to suspend policy BGB, which is how you adopt policy.
Right.
And the next agenda item will be
To adopt.
to adopt the policy.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Sorry.
No problem. All right. We have a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor of the suspension of BGB, acknowledged by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Item I, first reading and adoption of policy IKFB, graduation exercises. I need a motion and a second.
I make a motion to approve the first reading and adoption of policy IKFB, graduation exercises.
A second.
We do have a motion and a second. Superintendent Wallen, we just had that discussion, but if you want to add anything.
Correct. This is, and it's confusing because it's a recent action by the legislature, House Bill 2705. An act relating to local governance of schools was approved by the governor and filed in the office of the Secretary of State on April the 20th. What's that, 3 weeks back? As an emergency measure that it's necessary to preserve the public peace. And what this is about is allowing, revising the policy to allow objects of cultural significance and traditional tribal regalia to be included, be protected by law in the dress code for graduation.
Thank you. Okay, any other further comments? Nope. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Okay.
Item J, adoption of Pathblazer curriculum for grades 3 through 5 at Sage and Sand Virtual Academy for the 2021-2022 school year. This is an action item. Need a motion and a second.
I make a motion to approve the Pathblazer curriculum for the grades 3 to 5 at Sage and Sand Virtual Academy for 2021-22.
Thank you. I need a second.
I second that motion.
Thank you. Superintendent Wallen.
Mr. President, members of the board, Sage and Sand is an Arizona online academy. And currently the district adopted curriculum and resources with the online platform of Edgenuity for grades 6 through 12 used to support our learners at Sage and Sand. To support continuity of curriculum and resources across the grade level and to open up grades 3 through 5, we want to expand Ingenuity down to grades 3 through 5, which will be served in the 2021-22 school year at Sage and Sand Virtual Academy. The license will be $70 per student per license per year, with a minimum purchase of 10 licenses per year. So that we need, the number of licenses need to be based on enrollment. So we're asking to now put that 3 through 5 piece in there so that we have a strong curriculum for grades 3 through 5, and it's called Pathblazer.
Okay. Any comments, board members? Yes,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Why is there no 60-day review?
The program has already been, the Edgenuity has already been on 60-day review. This
When?
is just, I didn't ask that question. That's what I was told. I can find out.
It was on 60-day review, and I will look it up to see if I can find out when exactly, but it did. And they chose not to do the adoption because Sage and Sand did not.
At that time, we weren't going into 3 through 5.
Correct.
And now we're ready, we're organizing and ready to move into grades 3 through 5.
I do remember the 60-day, but like I said, it wasn't ever moved forward. So that's what you're telling us.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Did you have any response on the 60-day review?
There was no feedback at all.
What is the timeliness of this particular request?
I'm not sure what you mean, but we're not going to,
This is going to be for next year, correct?
Correct. That is correct.
Okay, so would it hurt to have, like I said, seems out a little bit of surprise to everybody because it didn't come forward. Would it be worth laying out again just to refresh and see if someone does want to take a look at it?
It's whatever the board chooses, yes.
I think I would just only, sorry, Mr. Wallen, you know, the concern for the 3 through 5 as far as being online and, you know, the pros and cons as far as, I know it's under review, but I just wonder, you know, and there's no feedback, but I think some feedback would be considered, you know, moving forward, I think.
Most of the curriculum reviews don't receive feedback.
Yep.
Usually, I don't think you get any.
Okay, I found it. The original 60-day review took place. The board approved the 60-day review August 11, 2020.
Right.
And so, but at the end, they didn't come back and seek adoption.
Right. Okay. But I really remember the conversations that were had from Manson Mesa and just the ingenuity and all of the great things that Pathblazer would bring to it to enhance the program for the 3 through 5.
That becomes our core curriculum for grades 3 through 5, yes.
Right. Any other comments from the board? Moving forward with this? Chuck, you've suggested a renewal of the 60 that, and again, that might put them a little bit of We've got them, we've got to have it for the 21-22 if we're going to have it at all, right? And so they'll need some planning for that. Would you want a shortened review period to see if anybody's interested?
How about, well, 30-day, 1 month?
Board members? Would anybody look?
Yeah, well, I don't know, but it seems to me that when we do a review process and then do not adopt, then and then want to adopt, to let that much time lapse is a little unconventional.
Very
So
much so.
I worry about people. Like I didn't remember that was on 30-day review because it was that long ago. Yeah, we can look that up, but it all should be done in a timely manner. We should really, I mean, I can agree to a reduction to 30 days because, you know, if we've already had it on review before and nobody responded, that's fine. But then it just kind of fizzled out. So, but when we look at people who are going to go put their kids there, maybe there's a renewed interest in in reviewing the curriculum. I think we just need to be as transparent with our parents as possible.
Okay. Board, does that make sense?
Yes. Can I add the 30-day?
You want to
Review.
revise your motion?
Just
Desiree?
revise
Yes.
the motion.
Yes. So I like to 30-day. So let's go ahead and do the 30-day review. So does that mean that we're pushing item J to a later date?
It'd be
For-
probably in July, late July or August.
For approval.
For approval, okay.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and not consider that at this point in terms of adoption. So we're good with that.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we'll, okay, is it legal, Ms. Skidman, to just put it on the table and then wait for the 30-day review and bring it back? Or do we have to
I think the
re-motion?
best thing would be to state the motion again and then vote on it.
Okay.
Or even have make a new motion, or no, wait. I think we should vote on the original motion and let it fail, then
Okay.
make the new motion and vote on it.
Okay, let's proceed in that manner. So I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Okay, it does not pass. And Mrs. Fowler, please present the new motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 30-day review of the Pathblazer curriculum for grades 3 to 5 at Sage and Sands Virtual Academy for the 2021-2022 school year.
We do have a motion. I'll need a second.
A second.
Okay, we have a second. Any further comment?
Yeah, I would like it to note in the minutes that the reason why we changed our 60-day review to a 30-day review is because it already has previously been on a 60-day review. So that
Perfect.
we're very, very clear of why we changed the process.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item K, election of delegate to represent the Page Unified School District Governing Board at the Delegate Assembly and other legislative functions for 21-22. This is normally an action item and a discussion by the board. So what we will do is just discuss and then nominate and appoint to represent the district for legislative functions. And I'll open that up for any folks. In the past, we've said, okay, who would like to, who wouldn't. That's kind of a very informal process. So is anybody itching to be part of that legislative process? I haven't been for a bit, and I think I think throw my hat in if I can travel.
It's
But-
your favorite thing to do, Bob.
I know. You know what? Don't remind me.
I still remember when you came home from your first one.
Yeah, almost resigned. Holy smokes. Okay, no, this is important stuff, and I don't mean to just go tongue in cheek with it, because I go tongue in cheek with a lot of things, but this is really important. So anyway, I would if you would feel okay about it, but I'd need an alternate as well.
Can I nominate myself to be the alternate? Because I feel like attending all of ASBA's conference, the delegate assemblies, and the legislative functions. Bob, you were the person, the
Yeah.
delegate, and then Dee was also the alternate. But when we don't have either of you
Yeah.
there, we really miss out on votes and for representation for our school district. So I feel like it's very important that we have a voice at the delegate assembly and the legislative functions. Very, very important.
Yes, your point's well taken. Okay, we've got 2. Is that okay with everybody? Yay, nay, any more
Okay, wait,
comments?
let me clarify. Bob, you're the board delegate and
Yep.
Desiree is the alternate?
Yep.
Okay.
Everybody good with that? Okay, we
Yep.
can move forward.
Yeah,
Very good, thank you.
Okay, so do you want me to make a motion?
Yes, ma'am, please do that.
I make a motion to elect Bob Candelaria as the board delegate to represent the board at legislation functions.
I second.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye. Did you say alternate as well? You did not?
no, it's the next one.
Okay,
I make
perfect.
a motion to elect Desiree Fowler as the alternate board delegate to represent the board at legislative functions.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. The next item, we've been provided with political agenda and priority issues. So the agenda item for us is approval of issues to be submitted to ASBA Legislative Committee for the 22 political agenda. Motion and a second required.
I make a motion to approve issues to be submitted to the ASBA Legislative Committee for the 2022 political agenda.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And in your handout packet, you see the priority issues that are listed and the various categories. The adequately and equitably fund district schools to at least the national median per pupil funding is the first issue that is listed. The second is to preserve and strengthen local control. The third one, improve outcomes for all students. Public accountability for taxpayer dollars spent on education. And fifth, manage the impact of COVID on public schools. Those are the issues that have been forwarded at this point. And really the question before us is if we want to forward these particular issues in the upcoming political agenda. Superintendent Wallen.
If you look under improve outcomes for all students, have you thought about, it asks you the supporting political agenda would be to increase the compulsory attendance age from 16 to 18 years.
Right.
You really think that's a good idea?
Is that okay? 60 or increase the compulsory age? Yeah, I saw that.
When we can't fund the 8th grade now very well, and now we're going to add up to 18 years, which means if you're a 17-year-old or an 18-year-old, unless there's some statutory language put in, then you would be required to attend school until you're 18. So if a student goes to high school, does his 22 credits at 17 years old, he's still got to go to school another year, as an example.
Gotcha.
Or
They've been trying that for years. It always fails.
Oh, okay. I'm holding you to that. I just see that
Well,
as,
I'm not saying that it will fail again. That I don't know, but that has been on there since I've been a school board member.
oh, okay.
Compulsory school attendance on the Navajo reservation is till 18.
Correct, but there's no enforcement.
Right.
That I don't know. That's not for me to enforce. But in Arizona, it's been 16 since I can remember, and it always fails. Yeah, but I agree with you, Mr. Wallen, that especially as we're lowering our credit requirements for our incoming freshmen, that might pose a problem for them and might pose a problem for us as well. So I would not support compulsory attendance till 18. I would keep it at 16.
Yeah. And as I recall, we have general headings with several bullets on those, and that, as Sandra has said, that hasn't been supported as they've gone forward. And just to respond to, just for, again, transparency, accountability, we reduced our particular requirements just to match the state's requirements instead of being in excess of the state's. Okay, any comments? Any other? Thank you, Superintendent Wallen. Good point. Any other comments, board members? We good? Okay, not hearing any further comments, we have an action item, and we do have a second. And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much. Okay. Next on the agenda is item M, I believe. Yep, item M, approval of district-wide AVID program. This is an action item only. Oh, or is this just discussion?
No, this is an action
This is
item.
approval. Okay, I didn't see the action state here, but this is an action item, approval of district-wide AVID program. I'll need a motion and second to consider.
I make a motion to adopt the AVID program grades K through 12 in the Page Unified School District.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and second. Superintendent Wallen and Mrs. Shannon Garrison.
Shannon, are you here?
No, Larry, I believe that you're
Okay.
doing this agenda item.
Basically, this is to affirm that AVID is a core program. So Page found that we would like to formally adopt the AVID program, even though it's been adopted before. The AVID Page High School was adopted back in 2006 and began that journey. Page Middle School adopted the program in 2013. Page Middle School, well, they don't adopt programs, but I'm assuming the program was adopted for Page Middle School in 2013. Then Lakeview and Desert View were added, were adopted by the board in 2019. Lakeview and Desert View are in the year of implementation 2, would like to formally adopt the AVID program district-wide for grades K through 12, and that becomes one of our core programs.
Okay. Any further comments?
Yeah, I have a few questions.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so are you prepared for the to pay out stipends for mentors and leaders as we
Yes.
adopt this?
And we have people scheduled to go to the AVID conference. I believe it's in June or July. We were talking about that today.
Okay,
for
what
the
about
training.
this? What about the stipends that were taken away last year and not paid out? Are we gonna compensate the? Are we gonna retroactively compensate them for their AVID work? Because I believe that stipends were taken away this year from AVID mentors and leaders.
I don't have an answer to that question. I
Okay.
have to go pull and see if those stipends were put through the system and
Okay,
paid.
can you could you report on that in our next meeting?
Sure.
Okay, so are we going back to those stipends then for
Yes.
mentors and leaders? Okay.
Yes, and there'll be classes and stipends, and there's one other piece that goes with that. I apologize, I didn't.
Okay. Can you reflect that in the notes,
Sure.
in the minutes? That will be paying stipends for AVID? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Any further comments or questions? Okay, none. Again, just excited about AVID program and making that part of the DNA of Page Unified School District. And we had a great example earlier of just the product of some of those things, and we see it year after year. And the one thing I'm excited about is hearing our K through 12 talking the same language, and it's AVID language, and that's really encouraging. So we have the motion and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you so much. Okay, we've got item N. We've got a level 3 grievance filed by Carolyn James. And this is an actionable item, and we'll have discussion over that. We need a motion and a second to consider.
I make a motion to recommend, or wait, I make a motion. Okay, review and discuss on said grievance. Is that what?
Yeah, we can review and then decide on that, I guess. Yes.
I second that motion.
Okay, thank you very much. In reviewing the paperwork that was submitted, first of all, I'd like to state up front, we really do appreciate the meet and confer agreements that we do see, and we will honor those. And in this particular case, considering the grievance, I think we've got to consider one thing or a couple things that are really part of the board policy. And I was taking a look at what our responsibilities are in terms of policy, and in looking at those responsibilities. One of the major things that we really provide the superintendent directive on, and that's the fact that we have to have safe schools. We have to have schools that will lend to that education environment, and to the point of the grievance, one that will really provide supervision when the hours do require that. And so in a previous meet and confer, there was a approval by the board at that point to approve a meet and confer that said that the starting time for school for teachers would be 7:30. Many things have happened since then, and we give the responsibility to the superintendent to ensure that the school is safe and that we do have coverage. And based on that, there was a decision made to require teachers to come in. I believe it was 7:45 to end of school. That was the original meet and confer. And now Superintendent Wallen has asked them to come in at 7:30. And so that was I believe, the issue that is being grieved at that point. But in general powers and duties under the governing board's responsibility, item 16, it says that we got to provide for adequate supervision over pupils in instructional and non-instructional activities by certified or non-certified personnel. And this is really part of the powers and duties of the school board, and we turn that over to the superintendent to carry that on. And in reading the grievance, and we won't consider the fact that they were turned in, I think, a little bit late. That doesn't matter. We're looking at some substantive issues here. And once again, I just want to say we thank you for really working hard at you and the superintendent, PA and superintendent, at providing those meet and confer issues. But when Superintendent Wallen made the decision to ask teachers to come in earlier, and I believe that was 7:30, then that was outside of the meet and confer agreement. However, In this case, policy will override meet and confer agreements. And the case was that there was necessary coverage because of bus schedules. And again, we continue to say that COVID-19 created several items and issues that had to be dealt with, and we had to be ready to pivot with certain things. And that was one that, looking at this, we needed to pivot on. And Superintendent Wallen made that decision. And so those are my comments to what I've read. Any other comments by the board members or Superintendent Wallen?
I have a comment.
Yes.
Okay, I want to say that I believe that in this district, we value our teachers
Yes.
and that we should keep our agreements with them. This meet and confer was done in May, smack during COVID already. So to say that this was something triggered by COVID, I don't understand that argument, because if you look at the meet and confer, it was done on May 6th, 2020, I believe. So we were already smack in the middle of COVID. And so that didn't seem to be an issue at the time. So also, I worry about not upholding our meet and confer agreements because I think it'll undermine the entire process. The fact that PEA didn't seem to even know where the direction came from by the district or the principal level makes me think that there was not a good faith effort put forth to discuss this with PEA. If it would have been discussed with PEA, maybe we could have come to an agreement and made the change in the PEA agreement. I have been having kids attend our school district for 15 years now. And I clearly remember that for 15 years, we've allowed kids to arrive as early as 7:15 in the morning. So that has always been covered before, and it states in here that what you provided, it says to provide adequate supervision over pupils in instructional and non-instructional activities by certificated or non-certificate personnel. So our parapros have always taken care of that supervision before. So I don't see why that all of a sudden became an issue. Why do all of a sudden the teachers need to do that supervision? I mean, in 15 years, parapros have done playground supervisory duty. So I don't know why that has become such an issue, because I especially believe that it's an ineffective use of our teachers' time. And I think the other thing is I find it concerning that lately I've seen I've seen some problematic patterns in dismissing board-approved agreements and directives. I'll be happy to discuss those other ones at a different time. And I just don't like this attitude of don't let a good crisis go to waste to justify changes. I think we should have sat down with PEA to discuss this and find an option and not just overrule the directive of the school board. So that's what I mean, to me that's just, it shows an unwillingness to work with PEA, and I feel like it's a problem that it created a problem that we've never had before. And it worries me that we do that.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, board members? Okay, Superintendent Wallen?
Larry.
Yeah, you're on mute.
Sorry. I made the decision in the best interest of students. We had a shortage of drivers. Buses were arriving up to 15 minutes early. I talked with the principal, and that was the decision we thought was in the best interest of students. And to have it second guess now is very disconcerting to me. I would never want to argue with the board about what's best for kids. It appears that the decisions are made, so.
Okay. And as I recall, the decision was, again, between you and the principal. And the date on that again, excuse me, when was that date? I'm sorry.
I believe it was back in October.
October. And we're here in May. And so
Correct.
now it's been filed.
Well, the grievance is untimely, wasn't filed correctly. You cannot have a grievance that is like a class action, which is what this is. Grievance by your policy has to be individual, has to be based on the individual's piece. But I felt like that this was a good opportunity to discuss this issue of board policies. So if board policies are going to be subservient to meet and confer agreements, then that's the way it will be. It was a decision to see if the board was going to stand behind their own policies. And it sounds like that's not the case.
No, I stand behind our policies, but I would also like to see a good faith effort because I value PEA and we valued PEA for as long as I remember. And so I feel like it could have been handled much better. It could have been brought to the board and discussed. At the time, we didn't have kids coming to school, so it could have been handled much better.
Just to clarify, that meet and confer agreement was done in May of 2020 and we were remote, so there was no need for that. We went to hybrid in October. That's when the directive went out to staff. And then we didn't stay hybrid for very long because our numbers increased. We went back to remote. We returned to hybrid February 16th. And I think that grievance was filed sometime in early March. The first level one was undated, so it was kind of hard to tell. But it definitely wasn't timely. And at that point, things had changed because we had students coming back on. We didn't have enough bus drivers to deliver meals and transport students. And I think parapros were doing checks when students arrived. So they were short people to do duty, I think was part of the issue too.
Yeah, and that was a very dynamic situation, much different than when we did approve that meet and confer, because as we knew then, things were changing really, really quickly and in and out of school and various things. And that's the reason you have folks to make those decisions. Ms. Kidman, I don't disagree with communication and doing those kind of things and honoring the meet and confers. But like I said, when you do have folks on the ground that are calling for, we got kids coming in, we're in a COVID situation. Our kids off the reservation are coming in, and as few of them as they are, we just want to make sure that they're in the safest possible mode. And like I said, I think things did change significantly from May until we started off bringing kids back to school. And those decisions, sometimes, you've got them coming in now, and you have a need to meet. And so I think that's understanding across the board, and teachers won't disagree. Man, we got to protect kids, and we think we're doing that. And if there's conversations to be had, if there's anything, yes, we should have been a lot more timely with that conversation, whether it be from the district or from the PEA. Either way, I think it's a lesson that we need to learn and to grow from for sure. And I appreciate that sensitivity for that. But like I said, having to make a decision on the spot with so many things this past year, those things are valuable to do, and you have to consider each one of them individually for sure. That's my opinion. Superintendent Wallen.
I'd just like to add as well.
Oh, go ahead, Chuck.
I just kind of think too that as a new board member here, and as far as policy goes, but I think we should not deviate from the grievance process.
Nope.
That's what I think, because we don't want to set that example, to other issues that we could have down the road. That's just my thought.
Okay. And I believe go ahead, Sandra.
Can I say something? I want to make it very clear but I'm just as concerned about student safety as anybody else. I mean, I don't want to say that that's the case. My main concern here is that we need to be very careful about dismissing meet and greet.
Right.
I mean,
I agree.
meet and confer agreements. And I would really like us to see in the future that at least bring it to the board and say, look, you signed this meet and confer agreement, and I need to make a change here because of different circumstances, but at least bring it to the board's attention that there is a meet and greet, a meet and confer agreement that we can't honor anymore.
Right.
And not just to individual board members, but to the board as a whole, because we need to know that that's happening, not several months later. We need to know that that is happening at the time.
Correct. And I think I heard, the timeliness of the issue is unfortunate, especially when it comes down to if there were something that was really upsetting, it should have been addressed immediately. But I know I was there when they first started bringing buses in. I was on the ramps at Lakeview, and I was there at Desert View and watching those kids get off. And it was, needless to say, with all of our folks from the reservation and from town, there was a whole bunch of concerns that everyone had coming back to school. And to be right there watching them come off and just saying hi, and our teachers are doing a great job doing that, and making them feel comfortable in this place. In my mind, that was really a tremendous thing to see, and to encourage other parents to realize that from the time they get here, from the time that they're in their classrooms and when they leave, they're being cared for, and everything is being considered that way. So to say this has been an unusual year, yeah, and I don't disagree. Meet and confer and grievance process, we all have that in place for a purpose. But like I said, there are times, especially this year, that you have to be ready to make a decision with the input that you have. And sure, at some point you say, I made this decision but that seemed to be a natural thing because the principal was asking for it and our superintendent was asking for it. And so that's where I guess I plead in terms of policy over meet and confer. And I don't want to say that like hard-handed or anything, but we've always honored meet and confer. This has been a unique instance for sure.
I know, I just would like to, moving forward, be assured that the superintendent will inform us when he chooses to not to change a meet and confer agreement. I don't think that's too much to ask for, because that can be done within a manner of, the next board meeting. I don't think it should be the teacher's responsibility to have to file a grievance in a timely manner when the meet and confer agreement is being changed.
Yeah.
It should come from the superintendent telling us that that's happening.
Sure. And I may be wrong. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Superintendent Wallen. I think when the issue came up, I dare say you probably didn't think of this was in the meet and confer, and so I'm just going to go do it. You may not have even known that was an approval of the board.
Well, then we need to, no, I did not. And hindsight's always 2020.
Yep.
Looking back and saying you should have is always a great way to bring discredit on the organization or the superintendent. But policy CB reads that the superintendent may establish regulations for the administration of the district that are in compliance with applicable statutes and regulations of the Arizona Administrative Code and policies of the governing board. So at the next meeting, you need to amend that policy, say, no, must take it to the board within X number of days. Policy CBA, qualifications and duties, says the superintendent provides suitable instructions and regulations to govern the safety and transportation of the students. And that's those policies I rely on to make decisions. Policy CBA-C says determine assignments, defines the duties, and coordinate and directs the work of all employees of the district. Policy GBEB-R talks about staff conduct and states that the staff conduct themselves in a manner consistent with effective and orderly operation. And I believe protecting the students is my first priority. But it sounds like that may not have been a good idea. Policy GBK-R then says, goes through and outlines on number 4 in the information you provided that you follow a grievance policy. Well, this grievance does not follow the policy that is outlined. So I'm now very confused about, so board policies can be set aside. It appears that when we do a 2020 examination backwards, because the grievance was not filed properly. There is no such thing as a class action grievance and so on. So if the board intends to follow its policy, then you would deny the grievance. You could still say those things that you've said, but you would deny the grievance based on the fact that it would create a conflict in policy. And then we can go and change those policies to say, no, those actions are going to be reviewed by the board, not the superintendent. So you take away that delegated authority to operate the district. I just am very disappointed.
I feel
Now,
like
I'm still talking. I'm just very disappointed that the board and advice from its legal counsel is setting aside policy to make an issue, and to say that I disregarded meet and confer policy still says the same thing. The one that's in effect right now says 7:45 to 3:30. It has never changed. This was a emergency measure to protect the health and safety of students. And if that's the wrong thing to do, then that creates a very dynamic situation. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you, Ms. Kidman.
no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I thought you were finished. I am not. I feel like my words are being twisted right now. I have stated already that I think the safety of our students is important. All I've said was that I hope that in the future, when a meet and confer agreement is changed, that the board will be informed about it. I don't remember being informed about it as a board as a whole. And I
Because the
would
meet
like
and confer
to,
agreement has not been changed.
but you didn't abide by the meet and confer agreement. So I would like to know about that. So I know what to say when people, I just would like to know that that's happening, that the directive was changed. I don't know why that.
A directive was issued. The meet and confer agreement still says the same thing. And actually that's part of the process that's going on right now. And
Okay.
that didn't enter into it. These policies, and I may be too much by the book, but I believe that those policies are there for a reason. My contract says I am to abide by all policies, rules, and regulations of the governing board, and that's what I take seriously. And so this grievance is here, even though it doesn't qualify, it's still here because this is a good dialogue to have. This is to find out where are we really with supporting the policies of the board.
Yeah, and I'd just like to say this in terms of that. We have policies that we follow. We have meet and confer that we honor. However, when it comes down to a dynamic situation like we have, we're driven by policy, period. If we have something that says we're going to give you 1 hour off, from 9 to 10, but then all of a sudden you have something that comes up at 9 and 10, you're going to have to give the person that you delegate the authority of the board to carry out policy. You're going to have to give them the latitude to make those kind of decisions. And in retrospect, then you could come together and have communication and say, okay, well, let's change this, this, and this. I mean, but like I said, in this situation, there wasn't an emergency that had to be dealt with, and it was dealt with. And so to hold yourself to an old standard that just doesn't, in your mind as the leader, doesn't provide you with the opportunity to protect the kids as you see fit, I think that's a little bit dangerous ground to get on, as we do have delegated authority here, and we do have a chain of command. And if there's anything, potentially a chain of command maybe was not put into play, and I know PA could have brought this up a lot sooner. It could have been timely and various things like that, and it would have brought forward more conversation. As you heard, the meet and confer in Superintendent Wallen's mind, and this is what I heard, was it wasn't at the top of the list. He was with his policies. in trying to protect the kids. And so, and nobody disagrees here, and nobody in the ranks of the teaching arena disagrees that our first job, their first job, is to make sure safety is number one. So that's why I do see a little bit of a danger in it, and it is a good conversation to have. And I don't want to begin to even say that whatever happens in meet and confer, it doesn't matter, because that's throwing away the 99.5% of the agreement that we follow and we will do. And in this particular event, there was a circumstance that needed to be addressed, and policy supports that. And according to our legal counsel, that's really what they've given us as well. So, any further comments, questions?
I just want to say thank you for the clarification, and we definitely do need to stand behind our policies.
Okay. All right. Any further comment on this? And we've got to decide on this grievance. And again, Ms. Kidman, I do want you to understand you're heard, and it's very important things to listen to and hear when it comes to these kind of things. And by no stretch of the imagination, no matter which way this goes, are we saying meet and confer doesn't count, because it does. And we support that 100%. Okay. Does that make sense?
Well, I would hope so, because we approved it. So
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
And if we're going to have a discussion, then I should be allowed to say what concerns me.
Absolutely. It's well taken. And I think one of the things that you said that's real important is, once we understand that a decision has been made and may be contra to meet and confer, then the parties have to get together and then discuss what was the reason for it, but it has to be done in a timely fashion so that it doesn't go unnoticed or anything like that. You're exactly correct. Because there has to be a reason when you follow policy, and it may become against what we've decided in terms of meet and confer. So, any other comments? Okay, well, I would pose a motion to deny the grievance, and based on counsel and actions taken, with a strong advocacy to ensure that we do understand meet and confers, and that we will honor meet and confers, and that if there's decisions that made that may seem to be, that we encourage people to use a chain of command and come to an agreement on what policy dictates. So that would be my motion. Do I have a second?
I second that
second.
motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further comments, conversation? And again, thank you. And please, board members, this is really a great example. It's really important what each one of you have to say, what each one of us have to say, because these things are very thoughtful. I think one of the first comments when we saw this, and I was meeting, the first thing Superintendent Wall says, this is really important to discuss, because we need to have these kind of discussions. And so this is where really the rubber meets the road with transparency, accountability, and communication. It really is. And we do want to encourage it. We don't want to have come out of this saying, oh, we're shut down. No, we're not. You're going to be heard. And that's what that's the strengths that each one of you bring to the board, because you have different perspectives that are so important here. And so nobody's comments will be disrespected. Superintendent Wallen. You're going to have to unmute, sir. You're still not unmuted.
There we go. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
I think that what we should do is have a work study session on the grievance policy, because in my opinion, when a grievance is filed, even if it's, as this grievance was, is denied at that level, that person still can take it to the next level. It can be denied, and the next level it can go all the way to the board. And I want to be sure that we as a as the governing body, realize that that's the case. I don't have the authority in any instance to stop a grievance. I can deny it, but it still goes, if that person moves to the next level, it goes to the next level. And so I think we should at some point schedule a study session to make sure we're all on the same page on that. And if we want to do different things, that's fine, but that's the way I interpret. And that's why it's here. Even though it's been denied, it's still here for your consideration.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So we do have a motion and a second. Any further comments? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, let's see, next on our agenda, let's see where I'm at here. We've got, okay, all that. The next thing we have on our agenda is item O. I believe that's correct. Public complaint filed by Barbara Wilson against Larry Wallen, superintendent. This is an action item, and the recommendation is to review, discuss the reference complaint response and applicable policy and regulation. Okay, discussion possible action on a complaint by Ms. Wilson against the superintendent. I am going to have to take a short departure. I don't want to leave this, but I'm going to have to. I've got to take about a 5-minute break if that's okay with everybody so that we can come back. And so mute yourselves and we'll come back. Thank you for that allowance. Appreciate that.
Almost.
Okay, check 1, 2, 3. All board members back. Thank you for that indulgence. I think we're back on. And so I see everybody. I don't see Miss McCary. Okay, she's on though. Dee, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, very good. Okay, thank you for that break, and we're back, and we took our break as we announced the public complaint filed by Barbara Wilson, item O, against Larry Wallen, superintendent. And this is an action item, as we mentioned. So we'll need a motion and a second to consider to discuss the reference complaint and response and applicable policy according to regulation. We'll decide that in session. So I'll need a motion and a second to do that, please. Motion and a second to consider.
I make a motion that we review and discuss the reference complaint, response, and applicable policy and regulation.
Okay.
I second that motion.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second. Board members, I hope you've had an opportunity to take a look at the complaint that was filed according to KEBR. And so we do have a complaint that was filed. I will say there was one note of, I guess, the way to handle this. It was sent, I believe, to the office, and these complaints would be sent to, and I think it was Lynn Hoffman that opened it, if I'm not mistaken. And so all complaints would go to Larry Wallen, and so it did go to Mr. Wallen according to policy. And then I believe the way it went was that Mr. Wallen did submit a letter to the complainant. And so under KEB, we are guided in terms of how to handle these things and how complaints should come about. It does talk about several things about criticisms and complaints and various things of how you support staff and how employees are freed from unnecessary, spiteful, or negative criticisms and complaints. But in spite of that, we looked at the letter, and we did get the counsel of our lawyer, Mr. Hufford, and in looking at this as well, they're, in my opinion, and everyone please come in with this, there weren't any specifics in terms of dates and times and various things like that that were what I would characterize as actionable at this point. And so based on that and the recommendation of council, I'll just say the fact that Larry Wilson, our superintendent, did respond, and his letter is attached, and it was sent in response to the complaint. And in it, though, you'll see a lot of detail and dates and various things that have occurred, and some of them directly concerning Ms. Wilson, and then others just that there's a lot of things that have gone on in our community with newspapers and various other things that I think I characterized with several people I know, the fact that there's a certain lens that we look at and look through, and some people have other lenses. I want to say that in our community, we're a single community, and there's one thing we all want, and we all want the best for our kids. And when I did, and this may or may not have anything to do with this complaint, so I'll apologize straight out, but when I saw in the newspaper an opinion that said, well, the schools are F, D, and C, that's fact. And as a matter of fact, that's one reason that we looked at, and when we were searching for a superintendent, we look for those qualifications for an instructional leader. And so that's one we had discussed. And the unfortunate thing was that when we did hire Superintendent Wallen, GAD's COVID hit big, and we were all faced with Zoom and those kind of things. So introduction to public and all those kind of things, it was just a whole different ball game. We did all our interviews with great candidates, I'll have to say that. several good candidates that we brought in for the final interviews and stuff, and in terms of Zoom. And anyway, the selection was made for one reason, and that was to turn around the student achievement, because we've been flat for so many years. So that F, D, and C is not a result of this year. We're actually working hard at creating that atmosphere and environment going forward, so that we can be ever since the beginning of the year, the mantra has been B school, B school, B school, even in the midst of pandemic. And hopefully we'll get the normal state of education coming soon, where we can see a staff that's really energized to wrap their heads around AVID and wrap their heads around our tools and resources that we have, and develop that cohesiveness, because that ultimately is really, really important. So, but looking at this and considering what the lawyer has said, I'll just say, from my opinion, there's nothing really here that is actionable, and I appreciate the response Larry Wallen submitted. So board members, do you have something you'd like to say regarding the complaint, or anything within that? Any comments, board members, from what you read? Okay, I am not hearing any. It would be my recommendations that we would, we've looked at it, we've reviewed it, or we've had our lawyer review it, and in addition, Superintendent Wallen has responded to it. So Superintendent Wallen, do you have anything you'd like to say in here? You're muted, I think, still.
Sorry, I keep forgetting that. That this, again, is before you because of policy KEB.
Right.
It is the complaint, KEB says if the complaint, the regulation, if the complaint is not resolved between the originator of the complaint and employee, the complaint shall be reviewed by the employee supervisor. And you are my supervisor. And then with the supervisor within 10 days, will file a written report and say, a written report will be prepared at each successive level in accordance with the procedure set out above. The following decision, superintendent, if any party is concerned, deem it necessary, may be referred to the board within 10 working days following the superintendent's decision. Because it was very difficult to respond to the allegations because they were so broad and lacked any specificity, I did provide a summary to the board in my response to that person. Of course, there's been no attempt. My response does ask for a meeting, and there's been no attempt to make a meeting, to get into a meeting. In the complaint, the stated that I'm a tyrant and a bully, but did not provide any examples. Yet, from the beginning of my tenure here, we have involved teachers in preparing for the pandemic. We've brought in 34 teachers to write the continuing learning plan. We brought in another 15 teachers to write the virtual learning and help train and put us in place for the virtual learning piece. And so this complaint, I'm not sure how to respond to it because it doesn't contain any specific information. And it seems to be tied to a very specific employee who has since resigned. The protest was organized and took place there was a protest organized, took place during April 13th board meeting, which was initially organized by a daughter of the complaining party. And this is a personal vendetta, a personal attack that has no basis and no merit. And so I am recommending that the board consider the complaints unfounded, that they directed a draft letter be sent from the board president to that party saying, thank you very much. The policy has been met. However, in looking at the standards in the policy, the complaint is unfounded. And so, again, that's another discussion another time about policy, because I believe that policy is what rules and what makes things work and what gives us stability as an organization. And so that's why this is before you. And now, unfortunately, and I apologize for putting you in this position where now you have to make a decision in relation to that.
Okay, thank you. Any other board members' comments?
Can I say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I've never dealt with anything like this since I've been on the board, so I find it very unusual.
Yep.
I'm just very concerned overall. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm just worried that there's things going on that we don't know about, so. But I agree with you, Mr. Wallen. It was a very broad accusation, so I don't really know what to do with it.
Thank you, Ms. Kidman. Yeah, I really can agree with those thoughts. Never seen one of these before, and man, we just I know the reason you guys are here. We love our community, and we do want to be responsive, and so appreciate those comments. Any other comments, board members?
I just want to.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Dee.
Yeah, I was just going to say what I've seen the time when we interviewed Mr. Wallen and the work that he has done this far. He has really come in. Many people say they hit the ground running, and he was very concerned about the grade that we got from the state. So he immediately began to work with, he actually worked with people to make this change, because you can't do this alone. And reading all these information, I was just dumbfounded, because what is said on paper and what I've seen and the meetings that we've had with Mr. Wallen and all the paperwork that has been put forth before us with the team effort and the meetings that he's had, I just really don't know what to say, and I'm just really dumbfounded. But from here, many of these accusations I see is not. There's hardly any supportive evidence of such. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fowler. Mrs. McCary. Sorry about that.
I would like to just add that Mr. Wallen has done a great job since the board has hired him and put him in this position. And, Dee did pinpoint a few things there, but being able to attend various ASBA conference and activities that take place, even with the local Coconino County, what are they called? County, what is it? In Flagstaff.
Are you talking about the county health department or the?
With
School board.
ASBA, school board, county meetings that we have. I've seen Mr. Wallen's there, and he gives a great not just gives, but he does speak on behalf of children across the state. When he was doing his thing there, but more so we are here local and local control, and we're making these changes happen. And it's important that we remember the reason and the purpose of the hiring of the superintendent in our district. So, and then also we have policy and procedure that we have to follow. And definitely the chain of command is also very important. But we see things different, I guess. Also, the background work that has taken place. So just wanted to add that.
Thank you, Ms. Fowler.
Mr. Board President.
Yeah, go Chuck.
Yeah, so I'd like to just add and agree along with Dee and Desiree.
She's an unforgettable person.
Yeah. So, I think it's been a tough year, and yes, Larry came into a lot, a lot of challenges and, a lot on his plate. And, but I also, feel for the teachers too, as well. I
Yes.
think they deserve credit where credit is due. I know that there's a high level of responsibility, in their hands, and there's probably a lot of confusion going on over the past year with the whole issue and the situation, and just the amount of accountability and responsibilities they have. But there's also that, with all these things going on, these concerns, and there's issues, that's where you really have to look at those policies, understand those policies, and follow that chain of command and that process and communicate. The biggest thing is communication up and down the chain, and then ensure that, needs are being met, and, and people are being held accountable for, their responsibilities and their duties, assigned duties. And that's just all I want to add to it.
Okay, thank you, Chuck. Appreciate it. Well, thank you, board members and Superintendent Wall. I appreciate that. And so in hearing, I guess, what I've heard and listening to our council as well, I would put forward a recommendation that we find the complaint without foundation, and that you would advise that you would appoint the president to write a response to the complaint. And that would be my motion. I would need a second.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Any further conversation? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. And do we have nay, or everybody agreed? We good? Okay. Next item on our agenda, item P, that's School Board 1165 Schools Performance Evaluations. This is discussion, as I understand, discussion only. And so Superintendent Wallen.
You're muted.
I have too many mute buttons here. Apologize. ASBA Policy Services put out an alert on April 2021 on policy GCO evaluation of professional staff members. Senate Bill 1165, which is referenced in what you have before you, an act related to performance evaluations during the 2021 school year, was approved by the governor and filed in the Office of the Secretary of State March 18, 2021. It is an emergency measure which applies retroactively to, from, and after June 30, 2020, and is repealed from and after December 31, 2022. But Senate Bill 1165 temporarily removes the statutory authority for performance evaluations. Districts still have the authority to undertake the evaluations if they so choose. And we have moved forward with continuing our evaluations because we're so far along, and our evaluations are tied to a payback out of the Prop 301 funding. If we do away with the evaluations, then there's no way to calculate the percentage that's in the Prop 301 for teacher pay. So this is to just provide you that information. Senate Bill 1165 doesn't require any change in policy. It's just saying the board may make a change if they choose to. And because we're so far along, all evaluations are basically done. We're actually in evaluating the goal settings, getting those done. The next step is to run through the calculations related to the benchmark testing that has just been completed with STAR and NWA. And so we felt like we put on this huge amount of work. Remember, every teacher has an evaluation. Every teacher has 2 observations or more. Every teacher has a goal setting piece in their evaluation. Every teacher has a school goal as well. All those pieces go together to work toward funding of the 301, and that amounts to around $4,000 to $5,000 per teacher. So we felt like let's keep it in and just move forward and finish out. So we did not recommend that the board make any changes at this time.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
Okay, did I just hear you say that you can't pay out money if you don't do an evaluation?
Our evaluation system is called measuring teacher effectiveness. And you have approved that, and that measuring teacher effectiveness requires, here it is, a teacher appraisal is one piece of it. Goal setting for teacher practices is one piece. Student achievement is one piece. The teacher appraisal is weighed 60%. The goal setting is weighed 20%. Student achievement is weighed 20%. That goes into a calculation, which then comes out and raise that teacher, and then goes on to the and the payout in terms of Prop 301. So if we don't do the evaluation, you would not have the teacher appraisal. 60% of the amount that would be teacher performance would go away.
Okay, you gotta explain that to me, because in this it says, notwithstanding section blah, 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 a regular evaluation for effectiveness 2021 school year is not required for a teacher to be eligible to receive performance pay from the classroom site fund established by section blah, blah, blah. So I don't understand. I guess I don't understand what that means.
That we're just continuing. Well, it goes back to it's a temporary, removes the statutory mandate. So if we don't do anything, then we would continue with our regular program, and we would be paying out to teachers performance pay.
Okay, but I thought I heard you say that we can't pay out teacher performance pay unless we do evaluations.
If we didn't do the teacher appraisal, that's 60% of the performance pay. So they would not qualify as effective and would not receive that performance pay calculation. This is the program that's called Measuring Teacher Effectiveness System. This is the overview of that program.
Yeah, but isn't that overwritten by that section?
No, it's not. Only if we change it. So you've got to unilaterally go in and change it. And we're saying we're done. Let's finish it out. Let's get the payouts. Let's make those work. Everybody's got their evaluations done. Everyone's got their goal setting done. Now we're just waiting for some more calculations from the teacher appraisal to be able to pay out the Prop 301 money. And it's on a graduated scale of how that gets paid out.
Okay, because then I need some guidance from a lawyer or something, because the way I read this, it says we don't have to do any evaluations to pay out performance pay this year.
Okay.
Does anybody else read it like that?
How do you determine the performance pay amount?
I don't know, but this is what this comes from. This comes from, I thought I just heard you say we can't pay out any performance pay unless we do evaluations. But this this bill that we have on the executive content, the way I read it, it says you can still pay out money this year, whether you did performance, whether you did evaluations or not. Am I reading this wrong?
No, what it says, it's asking if the district attorney, you make referrals to the district attorney for advice as necessary to avoid any complications regarding policy GCO, performance calculations, dismissal, non-renewal, performance pay, and similar issues.
Where did you just read that from? I don't see that.
The third Well, I'm reading the policy advisory from ASBA.
Did we get that?
I
don't see that.
So if you look
I
at
do not
section B, I'm following my section B, Arizona Revised Statutes, a school district governing board is not required to conduct performance evaluations of principals or certificated teachers in 2021 school year. For a teacher who was designated lowest performance classification, an absence evaluation, so on and so forth. Then C, and it's not required, but again, that's how we arrive at our payout for Prop 301. As I said, the teacher appraisal is 60%. So that counts for 60% of that amount. So let's say the amount was $1,000. $600 then is related to, got the wrong folder, is related to teacher appraisal. And then, keep getting the wrong folder, sorry. There it is. 60%, and then 20% like that. So if you don't have the teacher appraisal to determine the 60%, because it's 60%, if you don't get to 60% or you get some of it, then you don't have the calculation. Everyone would come out with no award.
Well, we need to discuss this further in a work study session, I believe, because that's not what I'm reading here at all. Because I'm thoroughly confused, because the way I read this, what comes from where is that? That's the bill, right? Enacted by the legislator of the state of Arizona, section 1. In C, it says, notwithstanding section 15-977, Arizona Revised Statutes, a regular evaluation for effectiveness in the 2020-21 school year is not required for a teacher to be eligible to receive performance pay from the classroom site fund established by section 15977 Arizona Revised Statutes. So I'm like thoroughly, I would like some more information on this. Because it is a discussion item only, but
yeah,
I need some more information on this.
And the question I guess I would have is the foundational piece of purpose behind this particular bill in terms of what it's why it's make that particular recommendation for this time. And your point, Larry, as well, as we've gone along the track, we've already done all the evaluations, but even doing the evaluations, when we consider the year and those kind of things, I'm just wondering what their foundational purpose in putting this out for this particular time period, because it's late in the year and everything else.
Well, it's the regular time in the year. This is based on the program that you have established that the board had approved. This would be the time when we finish the evaluations.
Okay.
And we go toward the Prop 301 money as soon as we receive the calculations from the benchmark testing.
Right. Gotcha.
And then that gets you 100%. If a teacher gets 100% payout, then that would be in there. If they, there it is. If they, there's a number that comes out that tells you this is how much that payout is.
Right.
For the performance. That's why it's called performance.
Sure. No, I understand that. And we have been talking about that all along since the beginning. But like I said, the School Board Association, the state decided at this point in time to relieve, I guess, schools of the necessity of the evaluation for performance money.
Correct.
Okay. And so I don't disagree with Sandra. I think maybe we need to get a little bit more into this thing, if that's possible.
That's definitely possible.
Okay.
We're still running the calculations on the benchmark testing.
Right.
That's out there now and being submitted by principals.
Well, and the one point here too is the calculations are based strictly on formatives.
No, they're based on, it's a summative calculation.
Yeah, summative calculation.
Got 3 pieces to it.
Right. No, understand. But that 20% piece is based on the formatives. Is that correct?
No, it's
the
60%.
performance.
60% for the, it's 60% for the teacher evaluation.
Right, I understand.
It's 20% for the teacher evaluation, 20% for goal, and then 20% for the results of
Students.
the assessments, right?
And that's formative assessments,
Correct.
not AZ merit, so.
No. Well,
Yeah.
that's a part of the calculation, but that won't be out till June.
Right, gotcha, okay. Well, can we go ahead and just put this on a work study session? Will that be timely enough?
Oh yeah, there's no rush on it because we're still, like I
Yeah.
said, we're still making those calculations.
Okay,
Would
perfect.
you like this on, would you like this on the May study session?
If it'll fit,
I would.
yep.
Okay.
Perfect. Any other comments, board members? Is that to your satisfaction? Okay, good. All right, we'll do that. Thank you very much. All right, section 9, executive sessions. Possible executive session pursuant to ARS 38-431-03.83 for discussion and consultation with legal counsel concerning process of non-renewal of teacher, Richard Tanberg, with the governing board, and to move into that executive session so we can actually hear from our counsel. We'll need a motion and a second.
Bob,
Yes, ma'am.
we need to take a break for a second.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. You're exactly right. I forgot about that. So we'll take a 2-minute break and then come back. Thank you.